Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. When you've been watching the tape recently of what Tampa Bay's been doing, how are they different than the team you faced so many months ago?
I think just like anything, when you play teams early in the year, you spend a lot of time working on what they did the year before, especially, we're playing them week one. You have your unscouted look challenge on, both ways. But I think clearly, going into that game, because of all the success they had in the passing game, their offense, then they came in here and ran the ball. So you look at both of those things, and as far as what we expected in week one, but obviously a lot's changed for both teams since then. So I think it's just a matter of going through the season and just gathering the information that you feel is pertinent to your game plan. So, and that's been our approach. But this is a veteran football team that's played a lot of footballs, played a lot of playoff football. So obviously division champ, former Super Bowl champ. So they obviously bring that to the table. But it's playoff football. I mean, the only thing we're guaranteed is 4 quarters to go win and move on to the next round. And so regardless of what they did, win their division, all that. It's 2 teams lining up, with the opportunity to move forward.
Financial folks start talking a couple of things. How much is last year's playoff performance loss motivation? Can you still use that as motivation going into this game?
I mean, we're not living in it. That's for sure. We've acknowledged it. Really, the thing that we're really focused on is on what we've done, who we are, and just make sure we have our plan as tight as possible going into this game to do what we need to do to win the game. So we've had the time for the theme speeches, and they've been good. They've been good, good thing, good triggers to talk about. So as far as sacred wound of losing a playoff game, we definitely. We've experienced that. We've talked about, the Buffaloes running through the storm, resiliency, and so, that has served us well. But, all those experiencing is really is the gold in our kintsugi, and that's really the matter of who we are. So, but the reality of it is, without getting super philosophical with a ridiculously long answer here, but I think the reality of it is, we got to just make sure our focus is tight. And, we're going into Tampa to win a game on the road and against an outstanding football team.
From a mindset standpoint, you made a remark after last year's game that they were nervous a little bit going into that game.
Well, I technically said nervous and backed it up. Okay, so let's be factual.
I just want, what is your mindset, the confidence of this team?
I think just like anything, where I was going with my answer is the experience. I don't think playoff experience is something you have to have. I think like anything in life, experience is a good thing, but it's clearly not necessary. I mean, we know how to prepare to beat a team. We know how to go on the road and win. So we understand what's in front of us. So I think just like anything, whether we had angst going into our first playoff game, last year, if or not, but at the end of the day, you're talking about, probably 75 people in that locker room. 48 are getting ready to play the game, and everybody else is either coaching or support. So, we have that experience, and, and I think just like anything, we just got to make sure our information during the course of the week is what we're putting in, how we're applying it, how we're evaluating it, cleaning up, because at the end of the day, it's all about giving those 48 players what they need to win the game on Monday night.
Mike, Todd Archer with ESPN. You've talked to us about September football and then how the season evolves during the year. What's playoff football? What's different about playoff football from end of regular season when things are?
Well, I just think the reality of it all, and I think it's really as simple as that. You know who you are, and plan-wise and preparation-wise what you need to be come Monday night, and just staying in tune with that, staying on line with that. So, and that's the beauty of this game. I mean, it's they're going to have a good plan. We're going to have a good plan. That's never, but it's the execution, the application, the quick adjustments, and doing what you need to do to win. So I've always looked at playoff football. It's a time to reboot, just really clean yourself off, because at the end of the day, this game's going to be about winning the matchups and using your toolbox. And our toolbox is our Cowboys 6. So this is going to come down to fundamentals and technique and finish and all the things that you work on since day one.
And how do you think Dak will respond in this reboot? Is there a reboot maybe for him with the interceptions that he's had to close the season and some of the things like that?
Well, I don't think it's like anything in how we function internally. I mean, we're evaluating everything we do. I mean, every walkthrough, if there's a correction, at practice, so you're always correcting, evolving to improve. So it isn't like we sat up there on Monday and Tuesday and did this grand self-scout and say, hey, we've got to fix these things before you go play. I mean, to me, that's part of your application and evaluation process. So, yeah, I mean, and the focus for myself and our football team is, the things that haven't gone well are probably the things you learn the most from. So, and that's life. And I go back to, that is our gold. That is the gold of our Kintsugi, and that's the way we're playing it. So we love who we are, and we're excited about this opportunity. And again, we'll be ready to go.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Some of your injured guys are still scheduled to work in the next couple of days, like Bland and Vander Esch and Hankins.
Correct. Yeah, I see all three of those guys going.
How much can you expect from Rhodes, considering you just got him, and can you get him up to speed?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he got a chance to work, Saturday last week, so we're excited to see him. He'll go today, so we'll see if if we can get a role for him, see how he fits.
Kind of in line with the playoff football. When you look at historically, do defenses usually throw more or some unexpected things at quarterbacks that they don't necessarily show during the regular season, or does it usually follow in line with how they?
I mean, it really depends on the philosophy of the defensive coordinator and his system. I don't think teams go into playoffs and have a bunch of new schemes. I mean, it's especially defense. I mean, you're coaching concepts and year round it. You want to make sure work so your guys are playing as fast as possible. So, and I think obviously with Todd, I mean, they are a multiple defense. So it isn't like trust me, they don't need any more. They don't need any more pressures. They got plenty. So
So it's just about altering what they do. I mean, it's just about It's,
I mean, they're going to do what they. They're going to look at our protections, look at the matchups, and they're going to play their game.
Scott Dixon with the AP expressed concern late in the regular season about injuries pounding up a little bit on the defense. How do you feel about some of those guys coming back and what it might mean for that unit?
I feel great about where we are. I think anytime you can stand here and know that come Monday night you're going to have some guys that are disappointed that they're not on the 48, and that to me that's as healthy as you can ask to be at this time of year. So. And I feel confident, after we get through this week's prep, that we'll be in that spot.
Jane
Slater, NFL Network. Obviously, tons of tape on Tom Brady, but what stands out about his level of play at this point in his career as you head into the playoffs?
Just really his discipline, particularly in situational football. I mean, just the awareness. Just you look at the Carolina game, the way it started, the way it evolved, and what was done in the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter. So, his ball placement is, everybody wants to talk about his age, but particularly on the vertical throws, outside the numbers, to make those throws as consistent as he does is super impressive. But I think I would just go back to my original answer. I think his situational football and discipline in those situations is extremely high.
That it? Anybody else? Jory?
Mike Jory, I'm hanging out in sports. We talked a little bit about Leighton Vander Esch earlier this week, but given how Brady is able to adjust on the fly, how important will his communication be for getting the rest of the defense lined up?
Yeah, I mean, Leighton's our green dot. He's our quarterback on defense. So obviously, we're thrilled to have him back today, and just want to see him get through the week. prep. And, I just think like anything, communication is so important. And, he's done it at a high level for us for quite some time. So, I just hope everything goes smooth this week.
Todd.
Mike, with Trayvon in this season, obviously didn't have the interceptions that he had a year ago, but where's his level of play been, do you think, 1 through 17 going into the playoffs?
I think like right now it's, going back to the term reboot, and that's for all of us. He's had a chance to self-scout. We have self-scout cut-ups that are made for each one of our players, weekly. And, you encourage those guys to know themselves more than they know the opponent, because I think especially this is the time of year where it's prevalent. So the things that he's done very well, he's aware of the tendencies that he has or has shown, maybe, bump and route technique. He's obviously on top of that. And, and even the mistakes he may have, it's, he knows those are on film. So, his instinct and awareness is, very high, and obviously he's a super competitive, and this will be a big challenge for him Monday.
We've asked you about the defensive guys, but Tyler Biadasz, what's his plan for today?
I see Tyler going today, yes.
Jane.
Piggybacking off what Jordan was talking about, Leighton Vander Esch, just having him back out there as the quarterback of your defense, how does he free up guys like Micah Parsons and allow them to play a little bit more freely?
Mike is going to play. Mike is going to play the way he plays, regardless of who has the green dot. Are you asking because Micah did that 2 years ago, or?
Out there in terms of communication and allowing you guys to be a little bit more flexible with how you use Micah Parsons.
If anything, it probably frees up J.K. and Malik and the other guys that have had to do the green dot when he's not out there. So it gives them an opportunity to communicate more, in their aspects of it, and it's less, it's something off their plate is the guys a bit. But as far as the Leighton's communication to Mike and all the other guys, once again, there's a reason why he's our number one green dot, because he does it at such a high level.
Ben Bluffberg, Cowboys Radio. So you've been around, obviously, some of the Mount Rushmore guys and quarterbacks. Montana, you got Favre, you got Rodgers, played against Brady enough, but what's a kind of a common denominator or a thread that you see running through those kind of guys?
I think the common denominator in, they've all, the first three, are obviously in a very similar system that I'm accustomed to, but I would say the common denominator and I just remember as a young coach, first time seeing Joe go through a 2-minute drill, first time you see Brett, and I think Aaron's, is off the charts at it. But just the way they play 2-minute, and I speak, same about Tom. It's just, it's almost something that they live for, and that's that's their, when they're in their element. Because you can see him in the 2-minute drills, or even the up-tempo offense, on the ball, and they're just changing the pace of the game. I think that's one of the best things he does. So I would say the common denominator is these guys you're always in it, as long as you got time and downs.
Mike, Haley said in DallasCowboys.com, how important is it to get Michael Gallup some more opportunities on the field, or get him more involved in the offense?
It's important. It's definitely important, especially, you look at matchups and, the anticipation of how they're going to cover us, whether they double CD or tilt it towards, CD. And, but more importantly, ball distribution is my number one outlook for the offense. Obviously the schemes and, the game plan that the coaches put together, and then obviously you work it during the course of the week, and and get things worked out where everybody's on the same page. But we're all about ball distribution. Our goal is to have 55 plus rushes and completions each and every game. So obviously Michael's part of that equation.
All righty. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.